ejércitos de acero y truenos están reescribiendo la historia, pero se olvidaron de mí.
We were always huge fans of the original Wolfenstein. I think it was because it was such a big leap to see a game where you were in the world and you saw the world from your own eyes, sort of. And that's always what attracted me to games, was this sense of being in a different world. And I kind of got that from some games before that. But when Wolfenstein 3D came out, that was just a whole different thing. So just the memory of that, and that sense of just being in a different place, that's the most important thing that we want to capture. But we also honor the legacy of the character, and we made B.J. Blazkowicz true to the original Wolfenstein 3D, where he's this muscle-bound grunt, Nazi ass-kicking machine. But we've also, because he's much older now, and he's in this world where nothing is the way he remembers it, and everything he fought for has been lost. So we're able to also humanize him and add a lot of depth to his character. We didn't want to shy away from his sort of Nazi ass-kicking roots. We wanted to, this is P.J. Blazkowicz, and that is a part of his personality. But it's not all of his personality. So we have other moments with him too, where you get to see him in a completely different light, and where he's not just this tough machine. We like to use the full spectrum, so some of it is really sort of domestic and intimate, and it can be creepy and intense or sweet, and some of it is just completely over the top, dual-wielding shotgun action, and we love that sort of combination of those two worlds, and have that sort of exist in the same universe. I think why we do games that way is because it all goes back to this sense of being there and being in this other world. And for us, then it doesn't become about, let's invent a cool mechanic and then just repeat that mechanic all throughout the game. That's not the kinds of games we like to do. We like to do a game where you go into this world, and whatever you need to do to, progress or to sort of experience this world is what we put in there. So if in this one level it makes sense for you to drive a car, then we put a car in there. And in this other level it might make sense for you to sneak around with, and all you have is a knife. Then that's what happens. Or in this area you talk to these people and you learn about them. So we try to create it more like it's an adventure. And you're on this adventure And it's been really, really interesting because we are obviously huge in software fans, and for me personally, the reason why I am making games professionally is because of Quake. Because you could modify Quake and make your own games, and that was just so, that was such an awesome gateway when I was young. Maybe I can do level design. And I started, I made a staircase, and that's how it started. And so when we started this project, we went to id Software and spent 3 weeks there just developing the core concept in terms of the story and the characters and the gameplay, the environments, all of the fundamentals basically of the game. And then the guys from id, once we had something, they came in and looked at that, and they were really passionate about the same thing. So I'm sure they would have given us restrictions if we didn't think so much alike, But since we are, we like the same thing, so they just basically given us a complete freedom to do whatever we want. The one thing that they think is important and that we also think is important is not to violate the history of the previous games. So even though we take this game in a pretty radical new direction in terms of the setting and the technology and all of that, it doesn't violate any of the history. So anything that happened to BJ before has still happened to him, and we have some reoccurring characters in this game. Wolfenstein has never ever been outside of the war. Like, it was always during World War II. And this is the world where the Nazis have won. So not only is the world radically different, but it's also something that B.J. Blazkowicz has never encountered. Because he was always part of the war effort and he was fighting for something. And now he's in this world where everything has been lost. Just revealing this world to him, the way we structure the game, we reveal it to the player at the same time. So the first chapter in the game it's in 1946, but it's still during the war. So it's a little bit of alternate history because the war is still going on, but it still feels like World War II. And then something happens and BJ ends up in a coma, and he's in this coma for 14 years. And in the meantime, the Nazis have won, and because they have all of this technology, they've been able to implement their sort of vision for Germania, or this sort of sci-fi technological version of Germania. This is, of course, a surprise to B.J. Blazkowicz, because the way we reveal the world to him, we reveal it to the player at the same time. And we work a lot with sort of aligning the player's experience with the protagonist's experience, so you'll feel the same thing. And so in a lot of ways, I would say it is a reboot. And what's also different is, of course, that it's much more of an action-adventure than it is just a shooter, which is also historically never been the case with this franchise. So, yeah, in many ways it's a reboot, but it's a reboot that doesn't violate one, that builds it. We don't really think about games in the sense that you need a USP. We just want to create a world where you can do cool things and cool things happen. But the game isn't about just one mechanic. It's about going places and meeting people and interacting with the world and being on this sort of epic adventure journey. So we throw a bunch of stuff in there. We just, we think, what would make this scenario interesting? Brainstorming would make this. We purposely haven't gotten, so it's not like deep RPG. So no, you won't be able to choose dialogues, but the dialogues that we do have are very polished. So that's sort of the trade-off. Instead of having many different options and they're all kind of the same, or you don't connect with them. We have fewer, but we put a lot of them. We think the game is going to be between 12 and 16 hours, like one playthrough. But we have a lot of things for replayability, but especially there's this one thing you can do pretty early on. There's a choice you can make. And depending on what you choose there, that sort of changes the vibe of the rest of the game. So it's kind of like an alternate ending, but it's much earlier, and it affects the whole game. So after you've finished it, it will be a good reason to go back and make the other choice and play through it one more time. We are really passionate about single player. We've always loved single player experiences. And to make a really quality game, at least for us, you have to be really focused about what you're doing. And we feel that if we would do multiplayer too, that would sort of divert our attention, and the single player would suffer and the multiplayer would suffer. So we put all of that into just a really strong single player experiences.
Y ahora han creado un nuevo mundo.